that's very timely, and it's about icebreakers. Am I right on this?
Well, it's about a number of things. It's about the fact that the Arctic is melting at twice the rate and warming at twice the rate of the rest of the country.
Greenland is green.
Greenland is getting green, and that's about new resources that are there available for extraction. The fact the United States is not keeping up with the other Arctic nations. We are an Arctic nation. The fact that we've got a population up there that is having to move, and what do you do? How do you move people? How do you move whole villages? What goes first? Is it the school? Is it the hospital? It's the houses? What about the infrastructure there? It's about a whole host of things, and what makes this so timely is that the Arctic really is, and Alaska is the canary in the coal mine for what's happening, going to happen along the rest of the coastal United States.
The canary in the Republican coal mine in Washington is to downgrade climate change, to say the least. You've got a little bit of experience of this with your, some would say, courageous service at EPA. What is your message to Republicans with what you've learned at CFR about the Arctic?
Well, one of the things is you've got to take this seriously. You can give up the argument as to what's causing it, but the climate is changing. There's just no denying it, and you go to Alaska and you can see it. And we've got a lot of implications for the United States. It is a security issue. As the Bering Sea opens up, Russia continues to expand its interest in that area. You see China now starting to, in the international waters, they're perfectly allowed to do this. They're sending ships up there to do some soundings, to look at the fish migration, things like that. But we don't have the presence that we need up there. And it is something about which we've got to be concerned. Nome is the first port of entry into the United States, in the United States. We have one officer who is both the immigration and he checks everyone in, and customs officer. If he's not around, people can walk right
Governor, let me bring in my colleague in London, Guy Johnson. Guy?
Good morning. There was a report out over the last few days suggesting the number of coal-fired power stations during 2016, planned power stations, dropped by half. Are we winning on certain levels, though? Is there actually an agreement around the world that actually coal is bad, that better forms of energy are available? Is progress being made?
Oh, yes. I think progress is definitely being made. There's no question about it. And the United States is in many ways leading that, even though we seem to have at the moment in Washington this attitude that, no, we don't need to do anything. We don't want to do anything. In fact, we want to roll back the protections that we have. And that's one of the reasons that I believe that this report from the Council on Foreign Relations becomes so important, because it shows real time, happening now. Not something in the future, not something that you can speculate might happen. It's happening now. And you can see the effects, and you can see the kinds of things for which we are going to need to plan in the rest of the coastal United States and, frankly, around the world. I mean, you look at when you have to move indigenous populations, those are climate migrants. If you think the migrant situation that we're seeing now in Syria is bad, when you talk about the climate migrants that you're going to have from around the world, that's going to be huge, and it's going to destabilize countries. It's going to be a threat to our national security as well as the rest of the world. And this is not something that's just speculation. You can see it now. You can measure it now. Not to mention that, as I said, as the Bering Sea opens up and becomes navigable, there are resources underneath there. And the United States, unfortunately, is not part of the Convention of the Sea, United Nations Convention of the Sea, or UNCLOS as it's known.
Yep.
And so we don't have the ability to stake our claim there.
Okay. What is your assessment of where we are with innovation and its ability to solve some of these problems?
Actually, there's a lot going on, which is what's exciting. There is a lot that has to do with carbon storage, capture and storage. That's a possibility. There are new nuclear technologies that are coming along, which I think offer a great deal of hope as well. The small modular reactors, the molten salt reactors that you see being developed. And then, of course, you have the finally really breaking through and getting solar and wind to a point where they are going to be truly scalable.
Governor, if we can switch to the more prosaic, the Hospital of St. Barnabas, 1865 in New Jersey. There's a medical tradition and a pharmaceutical tradition to your New Jersey that is nation leading. What do you need from Speaker Ryan? What do you need from the president to get to a healthcare and medical system that can benefit all Americans?
Well, first of all, agreement would be helpful.
That would be good. We don't have that.
Let's start there.
Are there any Christine Todd Whitmans? Are there any Christine Todd Whitmans left in Washington?
There are, but they're frustrated. There are, in fact, the No Labels organization has a group called Problem Solvers. There are about 40 now, 20 Republicans, 20 Democrats. They have agreed amongst themselves that they're going to hang together and they're going to approach problems from the point of view of we're going to solve them. Partisanship is not the issue, it's problem solving.
Do you play golf?
play at it.
She could play at it. Mr. President, I know you're watching this morning. You need to get Governor Whitman out on the golf course to have a little chat.